A very good evening to you, our dear viewers. Thank you for staying tuned on Rice TV. I'm Jackie Lingla, ready to dive you through the financial sector of Uganda here on the Financial Eye, while we always shine a spotlight on key economic aspects that are driving to Uganda's economic projection in terms of the future. Now, for example, tonight we are going to strategize on the key priority sectors of the government that were cited in the National Budget 2025-2026. As we know, Uganda is at a crossroads. We have very high economic growth, but of course it's also having dynamics. There is a high population growth rate. We have a very rapidly increasing aspects that are moving around in the economy. But despite of all these dynamics, we want to identify the tenfold economic growth strategy of the national budget in Uganda. So tonight we want to know, how is it being implemented? How is the government going to prioritize these key priority sectors such as agriculture, industry, mining, and so on. So tonight I'm not alone on set. I have one very important guest, that is Dr. Bainomugisha Arthur, who is the ED of ACOD. And a very good evening, sir.
Good evening, and good evening, viewers and listeners.
We are very excited to have you on Race TV tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we dive into our topic for tonight, could you just introduce yourself and tell us what ACOD does?
Okay, my name is Dr. Bainomugisha Arthur, and I'm the Executive Director of ACOD. I should also say that I'm also a senior lecturer at the Uganda Christian University, Mukono. ACOD is a public policy research think tank working in Uganda, based in Uganda, but working in Eastern and Southern African sub-regions. We work on a number of areas of development where we specialize, 4 program areas, but the most important one, which actually has brought here is called the Economic Governance Program. And under the Economic Governance Program, we work closely with the Ministry of Finance as partners in BTI. BTI is Budget Transparency Initiative, where we work with the CSBAC, Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, ODI, and ACOD, and the Ministry to promote budget transparency and budget accountability to ensure that our money, the money released for development, reaches the final person or the final units like hospitals, schools, without being leaking along the way.
Okay, in the national budget, we have the tenfold growth strategy, where we, projecting Uganda by 2040 to have at least $500 billion in terms of economy. How effective, before even we go into that, what is the tenfold growth strategy that was cited in the national budget?
No, the tenfold growth strategy is Uganda's strategy to grow the economy, which now stands at around 61 billion US dollars, to grow it tenfold, 500 billion, and the government has put that strategy and is implementing a number of initiatives to achieve that growth. I think government realizes that actually we have a huge potential to grow this economy, but there have been inhibitors, and government has identified key sectors of the economy that they call ATMs, and the ATMs largely is agro-industrialization, it is tourism development, it's mineral-based industrial development, science, technology, and innovation, and ICT. And as we go along, actually, when we release, because we appear with the permanent secretary to release, to communicate to the nation whenever the money is released. So the first quarter was released, and we were at the ministry to critique government but also to influence government in the areas that we think even the budget should focus on.
Okay.
So they have those are the 4 areas, but actually in our analysis, I think we need to add urbanization as development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned the ATMs, which is agriculture, tourism, mining, science and technology. Which of these sectors is the most, according to your thoughts, the one that will have maybe the highest growth rate in terms of economic development?
I think
the one that should be highly prioritized by the government.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe not one, but let me just say that one, Uganda has a comparative advantage in terms of agriculture. We are an agro-based economy, but of course, what has been inhibiting us is because of exporting raw materials without value addition. So when we start developing, that's where we have an advantage. So we don't start from negative, we start from somewhere. Because Uganda has very good soils, has very good weather. We are one of the top producers in some of the key agriculture. So for example, coffee, cotton, tea, and other produce, including maize, soybean, that actually necessary because of the growing population that we need to be fed. And Uganda could be turned around as a food basket. As we talk now, countries like Cuba are starving. Countries in the Southern African region, the economies are down. Sometimes they are always hit by drought, and they depend on maize. And yet we have maize glut here. We overproduce maize, and we have nowhere to sell it. But what we have been lacking now, and what the government wants to prioritize, is agro-industrialization, so that we have agro-based industries where we add value, and therefore the value of agricultural products increase. And we deal with issues of post-harvest handling, because most of our produce is destroyed in post-harvest handling. We don't have good stores that can add the shelf of these products. When you produce maize, immediately you need to dispose of and even beans because of weevils and so if you can store it for like a year and that kind of thing, because countries like America, they store food for over 15 years. Even when they start giving out food to World Food Program to give countries that are in distress, it is like the 15th year they have been keeping it. So Uganda has to invest in agro-industries, agro-industrialization to add value, add the shelf, but also do things differently. Of course, when it comes to agriculture, because of climate change, we can no longer depend on rain-fed agriculture. So, and you see government now is introduced water for production, so that farmers can continually survive the shocks of the changing patterns of weather, so production can continue. So irrigation. So, so agriculture is one of those ATMs that needs to be focused on. But agriculture alone cannot really take us off. If I was to choose from these, agriculture, yes, those people must eat. But must sell the surplus. We must produce for commercial, for sale. But the science and technology is the future. Innovation. Science, technology, and innovation, so that we have startups, so that our young people can be able to incubate startups, technologies that make production easy. So that is where actually most of the money is. And what that means is that investment in science and technology, positioning our education institutions at universities and technical colleges, so that we invest seriously in agriculture, rather in science and technology, and our people are able to substitute these things that we import here. Imagine,
so they complement each other?
Yes, they will complement each other. I think I would put a lot of money in that. These two, for me, are a game changer, but the others are also important. But science and technology, that's where Africa fails. Africa imports manufactured goods, and you know that they have high value. And yet actually now, you also need to know that actually almost 75% of the strategic minerals in the world actually are here in Africa. And all we are doing is to sell them off as raw materials, and then they will buy them back like rare earth. And we have rare earth, we have uranium, we have coltan, we have all this. If we are able to harness, but the government has also prioritized mineral-based industrial development. That is very, very key, so that our minerals are not exported as copper ore. You know, when you export like this cobalt, this copper within, embedded in it, actually sometimes there's gold, there's coltan, there's what, but they will sell it as copper ore. And when the Chinese take them, they just go and separate them and make more money from it. So investing in mineral-based industrial development is going to be key, so that we will start now assembling or manufacturing television, telephone, all these technologies here, and we begin to export them. Yes, we can, but we need to harness that technology. We need to invest in our people.
The mindset.
The mindset, the skills, the knowledge stock, so that, and it is possible. Now we need to be intentional, for example, sending our young people to the developed north intentionally to learn these technologies and bridge the the technological gap. I studied in England, was at the University of Bradford, and at the University of Bradford, one of the most developed programs in science, because I did peace and security studies, but I saw Botswana sending their young students, undergraduates, in large numbers, 500 plus, to study pharmacy. And at that time, Botswana was positioning itself to be an African hub for pharmacy. I imagine even now their pharmaceuticals, they are top. And what they wanted was to train these young people, come back there and position Botswana to produce pharmaceuticals for Africa. And so it is possible that we can be intentional and send and select young people and send them strategically to get the knowledge and the technical know-how and come and run our industries here.
Now, Doctor, how can the government effectively implement this strategy, the tenfold growth strategy?
They are already implementing it, my sister. Government, of course, what we are seeing here is that government actually has put money aside. This quarter alone, for the release that we've just seen, government has put about 215 billion in agro-industrialization. Government has put 20 billion in tourism development. Here actually you put little investment, you get a lot from tourism. But government has also put 26 billion in mineral-based industrial development. Maybe this is not enough, but they need to invest here a lot of money so that actually we save. I know gold now we have gold refineries, but that's not enough. But we need seriously to invest. And we know, by the way, the game changer is not going to be like from oil and gas. It's actually, it's other minerals. There's much money in minerals, so we must intensify our exploration, and then we actually mineral development and establish industries around those minerals. They have put about 139 billion Uganda shillings in science and technology, and of course, and arts. These artists, they are going, I think, to build for them state of the art, because we also can make money. I think Uganda has we also have a lot of talent. People can make money from sports, from singing, from film, because also we may need to have our own Hollywood here and dominate the region.
Now, for Ugandans, who would want to take the opportunities that are coming up in these sectors, such as agriculture, tourism, mineral, science and technology, that government is prioritizing and, of course, allocating these funds? What has the government done? What initiatives does it put in place to help in developing the skills of Ugandans who want to take up those opportunities in these areas?
Of course, I can also be able to critique them, but okay, we have we have seen, of course, government prioritize science teachers, the teaching of science. That is in a way to attract, to incentivize young people to attract them to science industries and deal with stereotypes. Mathematics is hard. Biology is hard. Physics is, but that's where the money is. The harder the things are, so that investment in science teachers, which is being resisted, I think is an investment in a right direction. In the meantime, it pains, but in the long term, it pays. So that's the government policy, attracting young people in science subjects and building that critical mass. But also, of course, PDM, the investment in PDM is also a good one to turn the parishes into production centers, but not only production, but also commercial, because you see the 7 pillars of PDM. One includes, they include, of course, also the marketing and commercialization. So, and as such, the money has gone down to the villages, and perhaps, and the economy, Ugandan economy has remained resilient in spite of the turbulent global economy. And the explanation, I think, one of the chemistry is actually the investment in the PDM. 1 trillion going there, so money has gone down. Money has always been concentrated in Kampala. You know, I hope you know that Kampala controls about 67% of the national economy. Now, taking money to the parishes has also has tended to increase people in the money economy. It's also distributive, but also it will encourage production at that level. We are yet to see the benefits, but of course, it doesn't mean that the PDM is a silver bullet, because it also has some issues, especially the issue of marketing, because people may produce, but if you don't deal with the marketing, then it could backfire. Marketing, value addition, that investment needs to be there, but also we know other challenges of PDM, there's still corruption, but that is being, I think, handled. So that investment, for me, is good, but of course they have put money in Emyoga for the young people. There's money for the women. Now the challenge is how actually it is well managed, well targeted, because we still have the vice of corruption. We still have the vice of mindset. Our people, when they get money, especially like this time of elections, they may think that the president has given them a casino. And instead of planting the seed, they will eat the seed and then may not be able to invest it productively. So the mindset is still a challenge, and actually that's another area of investment. It is part of the parish development model, but I don't think that it has gone deep. We still have a mindset of consumption, being consumptive than actually productive.
Okay, how are the interests of the vulnerable people being included in the tenfold growth strategy? For example, the marginalized communities, the workers that are, working in the informal sector. How are they being included in this tenfold growth strategy? I
hope we'll be able to invite the permanent secretary and secretary of the treasury here, because those are some of the things. Because our work as a BTI partners, budget transparency partners, is actually to hold the government to account. But I think where the vulnerable people are being catered for is, you've seen, it's the Myoga, youth targeting youth and youth unemployment, because they are vulnerable. Almost 74% of our population is young people, unemployed, unskilled, poorly skilled, and angry. They can be angry. So targeting them through Myoga, which I don't think is well targeted, but also PDM, because the youth and women are also targeted. I think that's where government has targeted them, but better targeting can also be, we can target them very better and be very intentional, but the Myoga and the PDM has targeted the vulnerable, and they are also targeting the 39%, which has dropped, by the way. The time of designing the PDM, there were 39% of Ugandans outside the money economy. As we talk now, that number has reduced to 31%. So people are getting involved in the money economy, not just working for, as the president said, Chida, Is it just for the stomach? So they are producing also for market. It's not too subsistent. So I think those are some of them. I saw the president talking about the fund, setting up a fund for the is it for the ghetto or for the youth, the urban youth. If that may be part of the institutionalization, not politics. That I think that's a special group that should be targeted. The urban youth, they are normally very highly conscientized. They have suffered enough. They listen to more information. And so if you get them and skill them, train them, focus on mindset, and give them money, that can be a game changer. You deal with the urban poor.
Now, according to your assessment, what kind of risks do you project in the implementation process, and how can they be mitigated for effective results?
Let me say one of the critiques of the ATMs, I think, I made this point when the PSST was releasing money. I think that we could add industrialization as one of the ATMs. And why urbanization, I think, is very critical is that majority of our people are in the rural areas. They are not urbanized. But you also realize that most of the rich are in urban areas, because when people are in urban areas, I'm not against rural-urban migration, especially if it's organized urbanization. When government created the cities, it was a development intervention. Because you see, you can be, if you plan these cities very well, you can be able to provide services very well, including, of course, health, roads, water, electricity to people, and liberate the rural areas for large-scale commercial farming. Because what is also at issue, while Uganda has a comparative advantage in terms of the agricultural sector, the settlement patterns themselves hinder large-scale farming. People are scattered here and there, especially in the north, and it's sparsely populated but scattered. So if we want to provide service delivery, water, electricity, roads, it would be very expensive to take a road to one or two families. So when you bring them to, when people come to the urban areas, a school can serve multitudes. One health center can serve many. A road network, the water, and then liberate the countryside, and then the commercial farmers can have large scale estates and farming that make commercial sense. Because while it is okay to have these small scale farmers, but they don't produce for market, they can't satisfy the market. I think the government intentionally must create an environment where large scale farmers have enough land to produce at commercial scale to feed this country and feed the region, so position this country as a food basket for the sub-Saharan Africa. But the way of the present kind of agriculture, the way we are settled, we can't. See, not everybody should be involved in what? In agriculture. Okay. What people need is food and other things. So it is for me, one of the areas of intervention will be invest in these urban areas, in the cities. Because government gazetted 15, 10 are being operationalized, 15 are yet to be operationalized, but even these 10 are underfinanced. Okay. They are underfinanced, they are there, and actually most of them are poorly designed. Physical planning has not yet taken place, and I think those are areas. So that these cities develop as planned cities. Okay. They don't become a slum like Kampala. Okay. It is our city, we love it, but 40% of Kampala is planned. 60% is a slum. And so we have to modernize it along the way. But now that we have an opportunity for the new cities, we can plan them, and they become tourist even attractions, okay, and attract our people and relieve the countryside, create enough land for commercial farmers.
Okay. Now, given the tenfold growth strategy and its benefits that you've been citing out, job creation, urbanization, and so on, how can it be equitably benefit the regions of Uganda and also the various populations that we have?
You see tenfold growth of 500 billion.
Okay.
Still, government will do what it does. Actually, you know, this allocation is scientific.
Okay.
It is scientific. It's not that. So there's a national cake, and they distribute it according to the population size.
So it's not
random.
Unestimated.
No. It's not random. It's very scientific, and so if you have 61%. Distributing it to 45 million Ugandans that we are now, it's like a small pie. But if you have 500 billion distributing it 45 billion, it's a big what? It's a big pie. And the formula is okay, but beyond that, and even PDM, you know, it's also based on what? And the population size, so that to ensure that equitable distribution, it is always done. But of course, there are regions that may need affirmative action, and that's why, like in northern Uganda, after the war, we had the PRDP. Okay. We had the PRDP with a post-conflict reconstruction program. There was another one for Wero, the Wero Triangle. There was another one for Renzo. That's affirmative because we are trying to address distortions or economic imbalances caused by war and that kind of thing. The Karamoja needs also affirmative action that even if you distribute according to the population, but you may need to do additional investment, like in the education, so that the children can go to better schools, better infrastructure, to bring them up to speed of equitable kind of development. But the distribution is always like that, but you can, as a government, must do affirmative action to lift up other areas that have lagged behind, investing in that critical infrastructure to equalize kind of development.
Okay. So we have seen, we have heard of your organization once working on regional conflicts, for example, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. How will the integration, the regional integration, contribute to this strategy in terms of economic growth?
Wonderful. One, Uganda is part of the East African community, and actually President Museveni is a leading champion of regional integration. It has made progress, but it has also moved at a snail speed. Regional integration is very important for Africa, and in fact, you know, one of the continental body, the African Union, it was intended, of course. It has the Organization of African Union, the first organization, of course, decolonization, fight against apartheid and South Africa, protected territory and the territorial integrity and sovereignty of countries that had become independent then. Then we have the African Union in 1999. Now the African Union now, of course, was to integrate the continent and do those and even lead to the creation of the United States of Africa. That is very important. Now, regional, of course, regional integration is special of RECs. RECs are regional economic communities, East African community, IGA, SADC, Southern African Government Community, ECASI, that's Economic Community of Central Africa States, ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. These are supposed to be like building blocks for the United States of Africa. Regional integration confers to countries that have integrated the wider market. That one is important because now, like East African community has about 300 million people. So if we produce anything, it will be it will have market. So, and actually that's why it is important that as we even develop this strategy of the tenfold growth, we must factor in the what? The regional integration and work on mechanisms that allow us to access that market and allow free movement of people and services and technology to tap into the benefits of a bigger. Because we are also addressing the colonialism, which partitioned Africa in small units that are inviolable, that were easily swallowed by the European powers at the Berlin Conference in 1884, 83, 84. And so regional integration does a blow to that thing that inhibited us, made us very small and invaluable, because it creates and unleashes the potentials, a big market, joint infrastructure development like the standard rail gauge, standard gauge rail, because here you need countries to contribute money and build a rail network that from coast to coast. You need like now the ECOP, the oil pipeline, that Tanzania and Uganda are putting money together. But if it was Uganda now to construct it from here to Tanga, it would be very expensive. But regional integration, when you have this joint, very expensive but very permanent, the game changer projects, if regional integration helps countries to put resources together and achieve great, that could unleash economic transformation of the region. So, but all that cannot take place, cannot happen if there is war and instability.
Okay.
So we need peace in the region so that our people, so that these regional projects can take place, so that our people can move freely, so that goods and services can move freely across the region, and of course then we would achieve economies of scale.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Baino Mugisha Arthur, the Executive Director of ACORD, here with me trying to dissect the tenfold growth strategy of the government of Uganda to ensure that in the next year, the vision of Uganda by 2040, we should be a $500 billion economy according to that strategy. So we will be continuing to explore its potential and also the way forward towards economic growth and economic development of Uganda. Stay tuned on Race TV. We're going for commercial break. We'll be right back.
The Financial Eye, making finance clear.
Welcome back on the Financial Eye. It's me, Jackie Lingla, your host, always here every Monday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. while we shine a spotlight on key economic aspects that develop the country, Uganda. Now tonight, I'm not alone in state. I'm with Dr. Bainomugisha Arthur, who is the Executive Director of ECHOD, where we're discussing and dissecting that tenfold growth strategy of the government of Uganda, bring it to your layman understanding. What does it mean? What does it entail to a normal Ugandan, a business person? What is the impact? And so on. A very good evening, sir, once again.
Good evening.
Yeah. So I want you now to explain to the viewers, especially the ones who are watching us, how is the tenfold growth strategy going to impact a normal Ugandan citizen in terms of job creation, in terms of income growth, and in terms of accessing basic key services such as health and education?
No, of course, they have put those 4 ATM that will help us jump that $500 billion. But once, how people are going to benefit, of course, include agriculture, which is going to be transformed. Okay. So moving now from subsistence agriculture to agro-based industrialization. And industries will create jobs.
Okay.
Industries will also, industries have a forward and backward strategy. The backward strategy, they will buy agro industries. They will buy the crops and from the farmers, and of course process them. But in so doing, they will create jobs not only on the farm but also in the agro-based industries. So now deal with the issue of youth unemployment.
Okay.
And so deal with that. But also, jobs will be created. It will also lead to modernization of our farming, perhaps from use of the hoe and the plow to now tractors and mechanization.
Okay.
Which means that we are likely to see industries that are producing farm machinery also established, create create also more jobs. But also now that we are also going to be producing and a value addition, so exports will be now processed and manufactured and earn more money from, like our coffee we've been selling just beans. Now if we sell processed coffee, we will more than actually most of the money is made by the people where we export our coffee. When they process it like this Nescafe, the price more than like tenfold kind of profit and at our expense. So if we are able to export processed coffee, then we get the market, the international market, rather price which will benefit our people. As government has started this PDM needs money. I think now it's like 1.3 trillion, 1 trillion at least every year, every quarter is sent in, and that has lifted people out of money out that were outside the money economy into the money economy. That's part of growth. You're an economist. Okay. You know that using barter system is backwardness. People need to use money as a medium of exchange. So that money itself can trigger economic growth. So the number is now decreasing from 39 now to 31. It must be dealt off completely so that we have people who are not working for the stomach but working to multiply their wealth. They are in wealth creation. So the investment in PDM will have more money. Perhaps government will be able to put more money, not just 1 trillion, maybe several trillions of money. So that, because even when we are appreciating government, that PDM we are putting 1 trillion, how much is it? It is still a drop in the ocean, because on average people are getting 1 million. So a business of 1 million, of course, is small. So if through this tenfold growth, government is able to put more money, and people are also going to be transforming. There are people who will not accept the 1 million if they want to start, say, as business. 1 million is now still for women's groups, peasant, but if we have money, because these people are going to be transforming.
Okay.
Transforming, going to another level, they will need more capital to start innovative, actually, businesses, scientific businesses. So they will need more money. So the tenfold will increase financing for women's projects, for youth projects, for urban youth. That because also we have discovered the youth are not the same. They are not a homogeneous group. They are urban youth. They are rural youth. They are those active. They are non-active. There are those who are skilled, there are those who are not skilled that you may need to skill. So if we have enough money, then we can actually invest strategically in those areas. So that way, then I think, of course, even opening up markets, because it's also a foreign policy issue, opening up markets for our products. If you have enough money, you can go and actually force markets to open, build up. Like I know some of the other people in coffee, they have opened up markets in Serbia.
Okay.
The Chinese did not know how to drink coffee. Teaching them how to drink coffee, they have become rich. Rich people want to take coffee, but they didn't know. So we may need to build an infrastructure there that attracts them, so that they feel trendy by taking coffee. So that will need investment. As you want to open markets, you need to support Ugandans who are in business to start open up those markets in China, which is a growing economy. In India they have coffee, and in Europe. So that you will need those kinds of investment. But you see, above all, the country must go beyond agriculture and go into high-tech industries. You get the point?
Yeah.
That's where we also need to start space exploration, taking people to the moon. You get it? As people become rich, they desire they develop higher needs. They want to explore more. Yeah, there are things that we need to deal with. There are many challenges. For example, producing our own vaccines for the region now, East African community, investing in science and technology. So we'll need investing in infrastructure. Africa is still poor, has poor infrastructure. We have roads, they are very impassable. We are going to have to invest in first-class infrastructure, roads, air travel, the railway system. And I think that's where we're actually missing the point, because the roads are not, they are not really, they are not the best investment in terms of transportation. It is the railway system. Because now people, I come from Barara. If we had a very good rail system that is electrified, and electrical, not the slow one, I would be sleeping in Barara and every day, because 2 hours you'd be there. So you end your business at 5, at 7 o'clock you are at home. And you can even look at your farm before you get it, take care of the farm, 1 hour, 2 hours, and in the morning, 5 o'clock, or actually 7 o'clock, no, 6 o'clock, I jump on the rail. I am here by 8 o'clock in the office. I do the business and go home. So you get it. That would decongest Kampala. It would allow bring in a lot of goods and services easily, cheaply. You get the point. So I think the future is that if we have enough resources, then we need to open up Africa. Africa is ripe for development, but it is constrained by lack of communication. So we must connect this continent. Can you imagine that Africa is highly connected to Europe and poorly connected to itself? The market, we are looking for market in Europe when we could have our market here. Why don't we first satisfy our market here by opening up the continent? We've had bad leaders the eco has come. We've had, like Mobutu Sese refused to develop his country intentionally. He refused to construct the Trans-African Highway. This was a highway mooted by the Organization of African Union to connect the continent from Cape Town to Cairo. And you see, each country was supposed to construct these roads connecting to other countries. He refused. He was saying, I will build the roads, my enemies will use them to overthrow me. They walked on foot and overthrew him. So Congo has largely remained impenetrable. But Congo has capacity to spur economic transformation of this continent. The Inga, the river, I think it's called the Inga River, has the capacity to generate over 6,000 megawatts of electricity because it has a lot of falls that would power industrialization for this region. You get it? Eastern Congo is a very fertile place that you can actually grow food and feed sub-Saharan Africa. So opening up Africa with the rail network, the road network, the air network is unleashing the potential of the continent to take its rightful place in the world and dominate also dominate the rest of the world, or become a donor. Okay. Help the rest of the world that is going down, because it's time for Africa to rise. Okay. We have all the potential, but we just need to unlock it by connecting the continent.
Okay, thank you. That is well said, Doctor. Maybe you could give us your closing remarks to the viewers who are watching us tonight.
Yeah, it is a pleasure hosting me and sharing some of these economic ideas to our people. The debate has started. I think it is good for people to engage in the debates like this one, but talking alone does not help. Go and work, put some of these things in practice. Okukola sibigambo. We need to, Africa, we need to be tired and annoyed of poverty and work and lift ourselves out of poverty. And I want to thank government for this ambition, the dream of tenfold, gross 500 billion. Yes, we can if we decide. And let us dream big, but act, because faith without action is dead.
That is well said by Dr. Bainom Gisharatha, the Executive Director of ACORD. Yes, we can achieve the $500 billion as an economy if you and me go and work. I'm Jackie Lingla. Till next time, every Monday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Stay tuned on Race TV. A very good evening.
Thank you.
The Financial Eye, making finance clear.